On October 3rd, 1962, the United States successfully launched its fifth manned spaceflight. The Mercury spacecraft, known as Sigma-7 and piloted by Walter M. Schirra, Jr., completed its six-orbit mission with textbook perfection and landed with pinpoint accuracy less than 9,000 yards from the prime recovery vessel in the Pacific Ocean. After a medical examination, a short rest, and a complete discussion of his flight with Project Mercury officials, astronaut Schirra returned via Hawaii to the home of the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston, Texas. On October 7th, he delivered a first-hand report of his flight to the nation and to the world. Before some 300 members of the worldwide press and more than 200 distinguished guests, the conference was opened by the administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Mr. James E. Webb.
Let me briefly say that we are here today for an important occasion, the first pilot's report to be held in the new home of the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston. In the future, as our space flights last for longer times and extend over greater distances, our operational control of these flights will shift from the Mercury Control Center at Cape Canaveral to our new multi-purpose Mission Control Center here at Clear Lake. So today, as we hear from Commander Schirra, we will be hearing but the first of many reports which brave, competent, and dedicated men returning from the far reaches of space to this new home of the manned space flight will give, not in secret, but openly for the benefit of all mankind. Now, at the time John Glenn made his pilot's report on his flight in Friendship 7, I stated that the space accomplishments of a great and powerful nation depended not only on the bravery and competence of pilots like Shepard, Grissom, Glenn, and now Carpenter and Schirra, not alone on the knowledge, skill, competence of large numbers of scientists and engineers. This success giving the United States space effort not only their closest attention, but the kind of support that will ensure fast progress from the kind of early flight on which Commander Schirra will report today on to our Gemini, to Apollo, and on to the moon and beyond. Now, to present Commander Schirra is Dr. Robert R. Gilruth, himself the recipient of NASA's Distinguished Service Award and Medal, and the director of the Manned Spacecraft Center, Dr. Gilruth.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Ladies and gentlemen, last Wednesday, Walter Schirra became the fifth American to ride a rocket into space. The external details of his flight are well known. Since he landed, the internal details, his responses and reactions to space, have been recorded and will be analyzed for future reporting, along with recorded data on the space vehicle and the worldwide network operations. Today, we will have the pilot's initial report on the flight from his own observations. He was in space for over 9 hours. He was weightless for over 9 hours. He had considerable time for observations and reflection. Flights like Wally's are essential to our progress in space, but they are also very serious business, requiring the greatest of efforts on the part of many individuals and organizations. They are pioneering flights with considerable element of danger still involved. With so much at stake, a little tension breaker is a big help. In this vein, as Wally emerged from the medical area in Hangar S to depart to the Atlas gantry, here he was all suited up and ready to go at 3 a.m. He said, "I didn't have much to do today, so I think I'll put in a little flying time." Well, Wally, you sure did put in some flying time, and we're anxious to hear all about it. Wally Schirra.
Sigma-7 is a name to me that connotes an engineering symbol. It is the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet, and it also connotes summation. Basically, what we wanted to connote with this name was the very many inputs that have been brought forward to develop this flight. The fact that we had previous flights where we needed to make our initial steps into space. The fact that we had
operations analyses of the previous flights, engineering analyses. We had to make minor changes to make the previous problems of earlier flights straighten out. This, in truth, was the reason why I have been calling this Sigma, or engineering. These earlier flights, starting with Al, backed up with Gus, John's orbital flight, and Scott's orbital flight, meant so much in helping me to realize what I needed to do to add to the knowledge that they had already accumulated. Where my knowledge went on was where I finally had my chance to go into space and look around a bit. The sensations of launch are as perfectly described by both John and Scott. The railroad train that you're sitting on really does move out. It's somewhat larger in size than the afterburners I've been used to flying, but in essence I had 5 engines instead of the typical 1 or 2.
Status check. Pressurization. Go. LOX tanking. -35. Water systems.
Go.
Range operations.
Hold, clear to launch.
Mercury spacecraft.
Mercury is go.
All pre-start panel lights are correct. Ready light on.
My scope is still out. Okay, umbilical disconnect, scope is coming in.
Scope coming in.
What's your scope light out?
The scope retract.
Tragedy. How about count?
Make signal.
Okay.
Change. 10. 5, 4, 3.
I have liftoff, clock is started, and she feels real nice.
You put your gear pins for this flight?
Yeah, I got the pins on my office wall, altimeter's off the page.
Stand by for 20 seconds.
Okay.
2, 1, mark.
Roger, backup started and running good. I'll give you a hack at my 30. Oh, she's riding beautiful, Dick.
What's 05 from here?
Mark, 30. Okay, fuel is okay, oxygen okay. All systems appear to go, and she's getting noisy. Not at all too noisy, easy to talk through. Okay, cabin pressures are leaving on schedule. Fuel is okay. Oxygen is okay. Cabin pressure seems to be as high, and she's really moving.
Stand by for staging.
Okay. I have a beat go. Oh, I can see the flash.
Staging.
Roger, staging. Standing by for tower. Fuel looks good. Oxygen looks good.
All right, on a new flight.
Okay, I'm on push to torque, and the sun's coming in the window now. Okay, there goes the tower.
Roger.
Order retrojet off. That tower really isn't flying off. The overall flight, I thought, was a textbook flight. We've had problems in the past, and they've been solved. I felt that I could go along and really let this machine do its own job. When I had jobs to do, I could concentrate on those.
Stand by for Tico. Tico.
I have Chico, caps up, and then off stands, and it's very pleasant. Going to fly by wire low, going to fly by wire.
That's by the wire.
Yours answering very nicely. Roll answers nicely. She's turning around very nicely.
Very cool and neighborhood capability.
Very good. I like that, Don. After capsule separation, naturally I commenced the first flying phase of the flight, where I performed a fly-by-wire low turnaround. A fly-by-wire low only means that we have changed since John's and Scott's flight. We've added a switch to permit us to use the very low thrusters for maneuvering while in orbit. This made it much easier for me to handle. In Scott's case, he had a little more trouble with the high thrusters coming in frequently. This way we could cut them out, and I could concentrate completely on control and continue with other tasks simultaneously. Could devote attention to monitoring the various meters that we'd added. We've added temperature meters to record the temperatures of each of the low thrusters that I was using. We had rather increased readouts on the electrical system. We've added instrumentation to Sigma 7 to give us a very accurate readout on the chute temperature circuit. I believe that some people thought we were having a chute problem. The cool analysis on the surface in Mercury Control Center while in an air-conditioned room obviously gave me the opportunity to pursue the chasing down of the proper coolant quantity flow to bring the suit under control. And this is what we did.
Sigma 7, this is Conno Comtech transmitting on UHF HF. Do you read? Over.
Roger, Conno Capcom. Do you read me? UHF low. Over.
Roger. Stand by this frequency 7 for Capcom.
Okay.
How's your suit temp doing now?
It looks like it's holding. Let it sit for a while.
All TM system good, 7.
Roger. I think the only problem I have is the suit circuit. I'll work on it for a while and see how we are.
Takes a wee bit of time for that to stabilize.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do. Deke, I finally got a grasp on this thing where I'm beginning to feel a little cooler, and the suit inlet temperature is now down to 7.6. Over.
You prefer to maintain a center close, correct?
Right, I've been sneaking up on this thing for almost the whole orbit. I really do feel I'm getting cooler. The suit inlet is now about 7.5 to 7.6. So I am making progress. Over.
I understand. You are getting a slight decrease.
That is affirmative. I'd rather not throw in the sponge on the settings I before.
I understand. You prefer to let it stabilize well on it.
Indian Ocean ship, Indian Ocean ship. This is Sigma 7. I read you. How do you read me? Over.
Here now. Do you have anything to say?
Roger, I have good news. The suit inlet temperature is now 70 degrees. Over.
Sigma 7, Surgeon wants to know if you feel particularly hot. Over.
Negative, I feel very comfortable. I think we got that problem licked.
Roger, understand.
Roger, everything is good here. Thank you very much for waiting for me to come by again. The systems that we were working with in Sigma 7 will differ somewhat from those that will be in Gemini and Apollo. But the use of these systems, the pilot control of these systems, is something I felt was my responsibility, was something I felt I could prove, and was something that the range itself was helping me evaluate. Yes, sir, this is Sigma 7. Read you loud and clear, how me?
Figured loud and clear also, Wally.
Okay. I would like to go ahead with my night yaw check on fly-by-wire low.
Roger, we'll stand by.
Okay. I'm using the moon, which is to the left of me, and it's a real good fix for it. I'm just going to go ahead and cover up the attitude indicator, and you can watch the yaw. I'm going to gyro 3. Trying to select fly-by-wire low at this time. I'm going to put the moon in the center of the window first, and holding roll and pitch, and then put the moon back where it belongs. The moon is approaching the center of the window at this point. I'm quite satisfied with both day and night checks. I've been real pleased with it. I have to say that this has been a real treat to see these bears fall into place. We needed to find out how long the control fuel would last. In both John's case and Scott's case, we were fairly low on fuel, but we didn't have the high reserves that we were trying to put on my flight. We only wanted 3 orbits. There was enough fuel for 3 orbits. They had enough, obviously, to complete them, or I wouldn't have been able to introduce them to you today. My intention was to use so little fuel that no one could argue that we had enough fuel aboard Sigma 7 for 18 orbits if we wanted it. I think I proved that point.
Sigma 7, Hawaii, Capcom.
Roger, Hawaii, Capcom. It's 6-7. How do you read?
Reading it.
All quantities and systems are green. I am green.
Okay, fine. Cape field, you're in good shape, Wally, and so I have good news. They give you a go for 6 orbits.
Hallelujah. We had requirements for terrestrial photos looking at various land masses to see if they might show something that might help us for analysis of the surface of the Earth and possibly to extrapolate it for other planets. In addition, the Weather Bureau wanted to confirm what type of filter would be best used for the Tyros and Nimbus vehicles. As a result, I carried a black and white back on this camera with 5 different filters, all in a row, all shooting simultaneously. In other words, there were just 5 strips in a plane. These filters will help us determine which filters to use for weather observation satellites. The fireflies, as John described them, were perfectly described. The coloring was the light green that you can see on a summer evening on an open field. The white, frosty type articles, as Scott described them, including the lathe turning, I saw one of those, Scott, were exactly as you described them. I had a chance to evaluate both. My own opinion is, and it's going to take another one, to come up with a series of opinions on this, was that they were from the capsule. I don't know whether we'll see them on future flights. I know we'll see them on future Mercury flights. Whether the same chemicals, the same byproducts of control or cooling are with us in future vehicles, I'm sure we'll have some new reports on fireflies and white objects. At any rate, they are there. Coming up to the Retrofire, I should say, at about 29 minutes to go, I finally realized that this very, very pleasant flight was approaching an end. Al and I ran the Retrofire together, and we were both satisfied that everything was working properly on time. Pacific Command Ship, this is Sigma 7. Do you read, over? Roger, Al. Read you loud and clear.
Understand you're ready to go home, Wally.
Roger, Al. I've got, I'm coming up on 30 seconds to go. I'll give you my light.
Okay.
I've got the 5-minute light on it, so 30-second light. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, light. There it is. I've got light in the tone. Tone is out.
Very good. The timing is right on, Wally. I'll count down to retro sequence, and you'll arm the spooks at 5.
That's correct.
Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Come on.
3, 2, 1. Sequence.
Have sequence, and the capsule's nice and tight. Got attitude green. She's sitting there just like a tight rock, Al.
Right, your axes look very good from here, Wally.
Yeah, they look beautiful here, too. Oh, boy, she's a good little capsule, I'll clue you.
Here you go.
Roger.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I got one. And she's holding real tight. Very tight. I got 2. My attitudes are right on the money. I got 3.
Emergency retro jettison fuse switches on.
Roger. They are on. Retrojet is on. Got sunlight. Everybody's very happy. I'm going to fly by wire, Al, to pitch up the reentry attitude. Manual is going in.
And we're showing you have about 6-8% auto and 8-4% manual fuel left. I think our readings are about.
I got 6-8 auto and 7-8 manual. Standing by for retrojet. I have retrojet and light is green. I could hear it, by the way.
Very good. We confirm retrojet.
Typically, one must talk about the 9 hours of weightlessness. I don't believe I can recollect anything about weightlessness any more than Al Shepard could from the first time people asked him on it when he was briefing on his flight. To me, it felt like I was flying another vehicle, just as if I were flying an airplane. Everything looks good. Got 55% auto fuel. Passing through 70,000 feet. 65,000. Attitudes are very stable. Coming up on 60. Big command doing very well. Coming up on 50. She looks like a sweetie. Coming up on 45,000. And down to about 1 G. Preparing to punch the drogue at 40. 41. Punching drogue. And the drogue is out. You can hear. I can't see her because of the clouds. Attitudes are holding well. And your lever is in. ISDS fuel is going pretty fast. I can see the drogue now. Drogue looks very good. I'm doing off stand to actually don't need it. Big command is burning itself out. And the off stand is doing nothing, just sitting there. I'll put her in auto mode just to let her pump out. Roger, I'm coming down on 20,000, standing by for snorkel. Cabin pressure is increasing. Snorkel should go. I believe snorkel is blue. I felt them. I will pull it anyway. Have emergency rate. I think I led the snorkels a little bit on that one. I'm dumping H2O2. Switch fuse on. Standing by, recovery arm is armed. Standing by for main chute. All switches in proper position. Companion fuel is almost all gone. There goes drogue, and main is out. Oh, she's out beautiful. Nice blue sky. Main is de-reefed, and looks like a sweetie pie. I feel marvelous. This is a beautiful flight, wasn't it? I'm about ready to impact now. I'm just about on the work. Okay, it's taken a while to right itself, but I think I've got the small end out of the water here. Oh, this is a sweet little bird. I just can't get over it.
Hello, Astro. Hello, Astro. It's Swiss 1, primary view, over.
Hey, Roger, Swiss 1. This is Astro. How are you today?
Hi, fine. Got you on Berghoff. Give me a short count, please.
Roger, short count follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Astro Sigma 7. Very happy to be back in the Pacific Fleet.
Okay, Astro, the submarine in the water.
Roger. Howdy, fellas. They know I'm all right, I assume. I heard them knock on the capsule.
Astro, this is Swiss pilot. The carrier is about 3/4 of a mile. Closing.
Okay, fine. I frankly would prefer to stay in and have the small boat come alongside, using your collar routine, of course, to support me, and having a ship pick up. Over.
Roger, understand you on ship's small boat. We'll give them the word right away.
Sigma 7 was dry as a bone. I was comfortable. I should say that the recovery forces had practiced. I knew that Captain Rankin had practiced with his crew to pick me up, and I decided I wanted to come aboard first class, and did. We've extended our envelope now to 9 hours. I feel that some concern had been expressed in the past from incomplete reports from other sources that space sickness might be a problem. I am here to say that there was no problem at all. There was no break-off phenomena. There was no uneasiness. There was no queasiness. I felt great and would like to have continued for the balance of 12 more orbits. As the dust and debris settled from the hatch departure, I stepped out on the number 3 elevator and requested permission to come aboard. This is a novel way for a carrier aviator to come aboard a carrier. I think the most exciting thing for me in the flight was to realize that I had proven, and that the capsule itself had proven, that we could go beyond 3 orbits. We had initially stated and felt very strongly, even as far as the way the flight plan was worked out, that we would get enough information from the 3 orbits to justify the flight. The additional 3 orbits were frosting on the cake, and I believe it's about that time that I said hallelujah, and that is when I was excited, to realize that we had control of the systems, that we had good control of the capsule, that I had good control of myself, that physiologically I was in good shape to continue, and we were on the way to 6 orbits.